So yeah, welcome you all to our collective calls that we hold every Tuesday and Thursday. And today is Tuesday, and as always, hosting such meetings, as always, myself and Malika. And as I said before, we got two projects to demonstrate their pitch deck, answer some questions, and just have a nice discussion, a nice vibe here. So let me introduce them real quick. Okay, so we got Drew, Mozi founder, and Roxana, vSelf app co-founder. So hopefully today's session is going to be a good one. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for coming. Let's start with our first speaker, Drew. And yeah, Mozi, go ahead, passing the mic to you.
So basically, let me ask you a question. What do you, like if you guys use DeFi in any way or are staking or getting yields, like what are they doing right now for you? Is it kind of an interesting question. Like, are they idle, kind of quietly earning, or are they working, driving real utility engagement? So that's what we're trying to do with Mozi, is redefine the utility of yields. So the reality of the LST and LRT market right now is that, we believe that there's billions of dollars that are untapped at the moment. And we feel that yields are boring and staking is kind of like a set it and forget it activity. And many DeFi users are disengaged because of the kind of nature of DeFi at the moment. So platforms, they tend to be a little unengaging, and they might lose momentum because of that. So introducing Mozi. So we're trying to transform idle yields into opportunities. Yeah, so the opportunities are for payments, gaming, and social finance. So you can kind of think of Mozi as PayPal for yields. And this is like where we feel decentralized finance meets real world utility, and in an engaging and exciting way. So the problem is that there's this huge amount of money locked up, billions of dollars, and liquid staking tokens. But one, the yields lack utility. There's fragmented use cases, so there's like no seamless way for yields as a payment or gaming or other applications. And we feel like there's a big hole in the market in terms of e-commerce opportunity. So the e-commerce market, for example, is a $2 trillion digital payment market at the moment. And we feel like it's ripe for yields to be used in a creative way. So we kind of unlock that with our tech stack here. So we basically transform yields. You can like I said, the easiest way to think of it is PayPal for yields. So basically you deposit your yield bearing assets and then it transforms them into payments or games or social infrastructure that you can use. So you simply deposit your LST or LRT, convert the yields into liquid assets. We do that all on the back end for you. So it kind of evaluates like what they're worth. And then it extracts that into these three-pronged things for payments, gaming, or other activities. Go to the next slide, that'd be great. So right now, this is a little quick overview of who we have working with us. So KXVC is a lead VC. They're backing us. Assembly Partners is also has a commitment, and Attention Ventures also has a commitment, and we have some really nice angels on board as well. Let's go to the next slide as well. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's pretty easy. You just take your LSTs, pop into Mozi, and then you can utilize those things for gaming, trading, and other opportunities, which I'll show in the next slides here. So here are the use cases, things like Netflix, for example. Like it's about $10 to $15. I don't know what it is at the moment. That's pretty small fee per month. But let's say your yields, like you make $50 a month. You can use Mozi to pay for things like Netflix. So you can just kind of set it and forget it. And you can have these like neat little fees covered for you. So Netflix, Spotify, Shopify, for example. These are all things that you can pay for without actually selling your crypto. So like you can remove some monthly bills. It's utility without friction. We see it as almost like a currency. We'll have a PvP-Fi social gaming aspect. So you can bet your yields against friends in risk-based challenges such as spin the wheel, lotteries, poker, or head-to-head bets. And then go to the next slide. Let's have a look at some of these use cases. And so like, for example, you could do leverage trading. So if you don't want to like risk your capital, you can risk your yields instead. Next one, binary options, which is our very, very popular thing in crypto. So once again, it's basically another form of trading. You're going to decide if something's going to go up or down or yes or no. Another example could be prediction markets, which is very popular right now, as you guys know. Next slide. So we also have, the big opportunity for these type of games such as poker, which we believe is a huge market as well. There's about $114 billion in the online gambling market right now. And that includes things like dice, lottery, poker, things like that. As I mentioned, we're going to try and capitalize on 1% of this LST market, which is valued at 109 billion. That number comes from DeFi Llama. And our revenue model is very simple. We're just going to charge a 0.1 commission fee on any of these games and a withdrawal fee of 0.1. So anything that goes through the Mozi architecture, we will get a small transaction fee on. So basically, you can think of us kind of similar to a couple of these other protocols right now, such as Pendle. But Pendle's very limited in terms of what it does. So we're transforming these yields into very useful things. Right now, Pendle is like basically a platform to trade yields. So all these other ones, they're lacking a lot of potential things that we're doing. So we have payments, we have APIs for business and developers and wallets to integrate, and it also has a larger appeal. Like for example, some of these other platforms are quite technical. So gamers, traders, and everyday users can put their yields to use. With the strategic partnerships, we're in collaboration with Monad ecosystem, and we're also going to get some we have wallet integrations with Backpack and MetaMask and Phantom are on the roadmap. We have a big plan for community growth around social gaming and yield competitions and engagement. And then also the e-commerce will be a big part of our go-to-market strategy. So in closing, what are your yields doing for you right now? With Mozi, they're working, playing, and creating value. It's not just a platform. We believe it's going to transform how yields are utilized. We're raising 3 million at a 25 million valuation to scale Mozi into the future of yield utility. I'll leave it at that since we're basically out of time, right? And then we can open the floor for questions. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. You can always expand the topic further in the Q&A section because there are some slides missing as well, as I saw, like the roadmap. You can tell us more about that and regarding the team. But yeah, obviously there's a Q&A time now, so guys, feel free to ask anything. Drew in the chat, or just raise your hand and you'll be asked directly. Okay, while the rest of the guys are waiting, so Drew, could you tell us about the roadmap? Because I saw like a sneak peek of that, and you got a big plans for the next year. So what about the roadmap?
Hold on just a sec. I want to see if my team members are in here as well. I'd like to introduce them. Let me just see if they're joining the call. They're actually in Asia, so it's pretty late for them. But yeah, JD is here. Okay, I see he's here. So I just want him to say hi. He's also a co-founder of Mozi. And maybe I'd like him to chime in on some of the Q&As here.
Okay.
So the roadmap, JD, do you want to talk about the roadmap?
Oh, yes. Hi, everybody. My name is JD. I'm from Contribution DAO. So Mozi and Contribution DAO, we just almost like we help each other by a lot. And then Drew and I go way back, right? Okay, so roadmap, we are planning to have embedded version of the wallet inside Telegram. So that's the first thing that we are prioritizing. So you could think of us as like a way for us just use a wallet on a Telegram. You could just go to that chat, create a wallet, and it just looks exactly like Phantom. If Joe can show, I have like a demo. I already sent it to you.
Yeah, let me. So I can't share my screen, unfortunately. Let me send it to them, and they can pull it up while we're chatting. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the first thing, right? And we have one. Just to briefly mention, Andrew and gang, they won the Monad Madness community award for $25,000 during Monad Madness. So 500 team was applied for Madness, and only 16 that have received the prize. So that's the first thing. And how to do go-to-market strategies? Let me answer that real quick. So we believe Monad, when they do testnet, they will have a faucet, and we already been working with some of the DApp that we've been working for like a year with them. We know them quite well. And during testnet, they want to try out their users. And yeah, if we have a wallet on a Telegram, people could just use Monad on that Telegram. We really hope that there will be like a huge chunk of people looking to try the testnet out without having a wallet. So that's the first thing. Could be potentially ad-hoc farmers, we know, but at least they get to know what Mozi looks like, and also mostly friends. Another way is we are also co-organizing an event for Monad for like 2 years already. If you check the track record for contribution DAO, so we've been inside the Monad quite deep. Ourselves, we are local nets here. Everybody from the Monad community recognize us. So we are focusing on Monad. And yeah, that's how we're gonna do the go-to-market strategies for the next quarter. That's our plan that we are planning for. Hope I answer your question.
Okay, thanks for that. We already received some questions in the chat. So you've been answering to the first one, right? Is that correct or no?
I
don't think so. Let's read it out.
Okay, so yeah, let's go with that. So as I said before, there's a question from the chat. Let me read those two so far. So the first one says, what's your strategy to ensure Mozi's platform stays ahead of potential competitors in the yield payment space?
Very good question. So in yield space, if you look at yields right now, let's just put Lido as like the biggest LST out there, right? If you have STE, you basically, if you want to spend that, you have to unwrap it, swap some of the Lido into USDC, make sure that it's on the destination chain before bridging, and then send your transaction in the correct chain in USDC or USDT. That's a lot of process. So what essentially the Mozi engine will be just doing all of that, just few clicks away. And okay, so what we enable, Monad is a really fast blockchain, which means ePorts for each will not be 7 days, right? So what is unlocked, it's just you could have yields that emitting almost like a real-time basis. Now, that's the unique selling point if you're building on Monad and some other chain. Okay, that's the first thing that we're gonna differentiate ourselves for the yield. So end user we experience like every hour they get some interest that you could spend on. And that's enable a lot of things. Next use cases we are working up with the payment rail. So for example, PayFi for debit cards. I think we have sent you the interface, how we gonna get like Netflix subscriptions using these like cards. We're talking with 3 to 4 payment rails. KX3 is actually a bank. They also have a good partner for credit cards and debit cards locally. At least we kind of ensure that we could have some of the first comers advantage for these credit cards spending on yields in at least in the local market, right? So that could be potentially strategy for us to stay ahead of the curve. Rather than that, we think once you have this yield emitting almost every hour, every like half an hour, they could enable a lot of things. Like you could bet against, like use your yield to bet each other. There are many ways that we are already planning for. Like we could go PvP style gaming. It depends on what stake, right? We don't know what use case people are looking to use with yield, but we want to have the operation that actually be able to build it and test the market upfront. At least if competitor builds something, we should have the capacity to build it really quickly and go test with whatever user we have.
Okay, thanks for answering that. And by the way, JD, could you improve the sound quality of the mic, because there is a lot of hum in there, and it would be a great thing if you could like make it clear, more clear. And by the way, guys, let me remind you real quick that we post all the links in the Telegram handles as well in the chat, so feel free to get connected with our speakers in the chat. Okay, so yeah, we got 2 more questions, so let me read those as well. How do you plan to onboard traditional businesses that aren't familiar with crypto And what's the first real world application you're targeting?
Yeah, so if you look at building blocks, Lego for crypto today, you could have USDC on some of the, Aave supported change, and then you could an app that people actually, if you connect with some of the payment rails, you could basically deposit your USDT, USDC, put it on Aave and earn actual yields. And nobody need to know it's Aave, what chain, right? So to answer that question, the real use case is still within subscription, and basically what blockchain offer is these building blocks that's ready to be built, the Web2 application for. If you combine this Lego together with payment rails and then make it easier for people to shop online, we think will be one of the first use case for non-crypto users, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about like if it's crypto or not. At least I put my money here, my interest paid for my Netflix. I watch Netflix free forever. That could be a real good use case for us. And that will be the first use case for us.
Okay, that's great. And another one goes like this. So can you explain a specific use case where Mozi has already created real value for users or developers in Web3 ecosystem?
Yes, this one I could answer right away. If you are developers looking to work with Lido API or this RST API, there's no way for you to be able to spend it on, let's say, Shopify, right? Because you still lack of off-ramp and on-ramp, and there's no easy way for you to, if that Shopify doesn't have plug-in to accept crypto, you basically cannot use it together. So this developer experience, if you want to build something, you still need infrastructure or almost like a middle layer for you to help bridging those value between like Web2 and Web3. So what we essentially build is the U engines. You don't need to build all of that. You just send a request to our API SDK. We handle all the rest. So if you are a plug-in developer for Shopify, you could just use our Mozi engines to be able to accept the yield payment from anyone that we are supporting. And if you are app developers, you could just use this SDK much easier. It's almost like we abstract away for them, right? So that's the developer right away. For the end users, crypto allow you to do a lot of things rather than traditional people cannot do. The thing is, it just have some friction between like compliance and also the assets between change and the UX UI problems, right? For example, you could stream payment, you could yield to do factoring that nobody can do. Yield emitting every hour could do something for fun, people could borrow against that. You could have it actively. You could stream it every 2 minutes to some other people. So payments right now, if you look at Web2 payments, like they only accept one transaction-based payment. There's not streaming payment. There's so many innovation that you could build on top of this Lego if you just enable the yields to be easily work with.
Okay, thank you guys for answering that. That's all the time we have for Q&A section for Mozi. Thank you guys for happening. Wish you best of luck. And we're moving on. We got the second project. We got vSelf. And now representing Tatiana. So passing the word to you. Thanks for coming.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having us today. I'm Tatiana. I'm one of two founders of vSelf, a community service platform. In our project, we help Web3 brands to tokenize their communities and to automate their social media marketing and growth hacking flows. And one of the key problems that we're targeting with this project is that the Web3 audience is stagnating. We already heard so many times that we're just early, but are we really? And we see that the percentage of users who have crypto or know about Web3 but really use any of the Web3 services is a very small share of compared to success and everything that is operating on a more centralized or institutionalized way with Web3 world. And there's several problems that almost every Web3 brand that we've spoken to sees in the market, and why their connection with existing customers and process of acquisition of new ones is quite flooded. And one of the issues everybody is mentioning is high percentage of bots and hunters in the process is a bad prediction of the marketing strategy that you can build in this market, and many others. So the question is how we can build this connection in a better way and how we can introduce products that we build in the Web3 space to real people who need it. Yeah. So what I was talking about is this, set of issues around a Web3 company and how they relate with their customers. So the solution that vSelf provides is helping to turn customers into a loyal community and also to help them build this community even from scratch. So we provide Web3 brands with easy tooling to build gamification campaigns, to onboard customers, and to amplify their messaging on a broader audience. So the end goal is to build the AI agent that will automate the full marketing flow from, think about this way, feeding all content that we have, like white paper, one pager, and campaign concept into it, convert into mini apps for engagement and gamification, and auto post it through different channels of amplification or setting up Telegram and other advertisements. So we started with a central part for gamification and engagement, and currently launching at a beta product with a library of different templates for either mini games, so quests and quizzes, and with Web3 and Web2 reward structures so we can align with incentive mechanisms that our clients provide for their audience. To bring a couple of examples, we target like several types of kind of Web3 companies. One global group is teams that have complicated enough product. Like in this case, it's a deepening product to explain them what they're doing for a recently acquired audience. Requires some process of splitting the whole messaging and positioning into small bits. So what we did with them is to organize a campaign consisting of several quizzes and invited audience to learn about their testnet strategy, about their product, about their main customers, like bit by bit. Another type of product is meme coins, gaming applications, and everything is more engagement scenario. And there, what vSelf can do is to provide some quick and actionable set of campaigns. So we kind of do, if it's a game, we can do a teaser. If it's a meme coin, they don't have a product, so we can replace a product to generate analytics and engagement statistics for them. So in this market, in general, globally, companies spend almost $250 billion over last year and is projected for the next one in the same scale. And with the Web3 perspective, what we target here, if we capture around like 1% of existing Web3 customers who already invest in questing platforms and advertising platforms, we can bring to 8 to 12 million RR in 2 years. We've been around for about 1.5 years in total as a team. We started with several grant-supported projects, building soul-bound token infrastructure for loyalty, and got through ZK cohort with Outline Ventures, where we backed by Scalenx and Redbeard Ventures, who are our partners through the same cohort. Recently, we're supported by Tone Foundation. We pivoted 6 months ago towards Tone Telegram form of the product and went through their acceleration platform and now launching the beta, focusing primarily on Telegram as a distribution channel. And now we're ready to move to the beta launch. So we're onboarding about like 20 partners for the beta launch, using our kind of new library of gamification tooling. And the next stage is going to be to introduce our retrained AI for content generation for different Web3 companies. And the main asset, since we're quite early still in the journey in our project, is the team. My experience is kind of between academia and Web3. My co-founder, Roxana, is here on the call. She's an expert in marketing and customer behavior. And recently, we had a new CTO joining the team with many years of experience in computer science and development, having his own development studio in Web3 and formerly working for Luxo and Sigma. Now we're launching the pre-seed round. I would love to share the details if anybody is interested. So far, we have only Alto Ventures and the partners in it. So feel free to reach out to us and discuss conditions.
Yeah, absolutely, Tatiana. Thanks.
Sorry for the scrambled presentation in the beginning.
No, so that's all right. It's not the first time. Obviously, connection issues happen all the time, but yeah, we can figure it out always. Guys, to Q&A, right on, ask questions right there in the chat. We received one. I see 3 of them. Oh, that's cool. So the first one from Saya, how do you plan to attract and onboard brands who are still hesitant to drive into Web3 or gamified communities?
That's an interesting question. In the current page, I was mostly talking on onboarding Web3 native brands. We definitely think that the tooling that we're designing is suitable for more general audience of digital marketing. It's just, we started with Telegram, which is more native for Web3 project. And also we're working with kind of tokenized reward systems, which is again more popular for Web3 companies. So with them, we don't have much of a problem of onboarding that. The main kind of debate that we have is the balance between the amplification kind of value proposition that we have and automation, because a lot of Web3 companies still want new customers much more than they want to increase retention and want to kind of entertain or engage the existing audiences. And there we have the market where the prices or the expectations for what is the effort to gain real users is very saturated by a group of kind of products that provide hunters, and they like questing campaigns where that bring mostly hunters. So I think that's the main kind of obstacle for us in onboarding Web3. In terms of like onboarding the communities themselves, that's where we use partnerships, and the communities of our like previous clients or current clients are part of it, and also amplification. And that's what Telegram brings a lot on the table, is several new advertisement tooling where instead of just inviting people, promising them airdrops or financial benefits, you can target people who are interested in a particular topic, saying like, for example, when we're working with DePin projects, we could target AI influencers and blogs about AI and people who are interested in becoming a developer in this industry. So that's how we can involve even like non-DGen communities that have high probability to convert being a client or token holder.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that. Another one goes like this. How do you ensure the zero-party data you collect actually translates into meaningful insights for brands?
That's a great question. I think the first part of it, kind of the whole definition, what is the zero-party data? So that the brand has the access to this Web3 CRM with the whole traces of how the campaigns were performing. And we have more valuable insight about who exactly are their audience, what are the percentage that not only click when they want to claim the airdrop, but participate in like more complicated activities where you need to know something about the project, like all the quizzes, surveys. And also we can see their other on-chain activity, they allow to share it through their Telegram account, or if they willingly go through the kind of quests and task list when we can gather this information. Whether we can convert it into more meaningful insights than this raw data that we have in some CRM heavily depends on the readiness of the partner to have kind of more long-term marketing strategy, understanding what they want from the target audience. And that's unfortunately missing often. That's something that is kind of one-on-one for all the kind of IT startups in general. But in Web3, we're moving with such a pace that not every product knows where they're going to be like in 6 months. So that's kind of is in the way of asking the right questions about your target audience, or, you know, what you want to have on the long run. And we're not it's not yet part of our service to help with that, but maybe in the future we can integrate some in AI agent parts, some insights how to approach this data better.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, thanks for Tatiana for answering that as well. And the last one so far goes like this. Really like the project and like the question as well. So what's one of the coolest and most unexpected community interactions you've seen using vSelf's gamification tools?
The coolest is the high level of engagement when we deal with relatively like complicated products like DeFi, DePIN. You would expect that a lot of projects that we worked were in the early stage, so they didn't fully understand the structure of who came up, and we saw like conversion rate about like 30-40% of engagement. So a big chunk of people who subscribed to them really were present, were participating, were asking questions after, were doing something for the community. That was amazing to see. And vice versa, when we see communities that sometimes are huge, kind of like in a negative way, unexpected, and inflated by like traffic exchanges. Sometimes you kind of see a big number, but then you launch something, nothing happens, and you start looking for a kind of correction to the campaign and what you can do to change the engagement strategy and to really identify like who we can invite, who can be participant. That's so far. And also like the aspect that sometimes you need something simple, the kind of warming up instrument in the community is also a big insight for us, because we're sometimes trying to be too smart in the Web3 space.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally correct. So guys, do we have one more question, because it's really time to conclude?
There is one more question in the chat, I think.
Really? Because I thought I've covered everything here.
Maison, did you?
No, we've been answering to that one lastly. Maybe you, Malik, can have a question. I've only been hearing about the project, and you told me that you recognize it.
I love the project, and thanks for coming, Tatiana and Roxana. Yeah, and I especially love that it is a great, solid project led by female co-founders. Do you feel like, do you face challenges being female co-founders? Like, I don't know, maybe some obstacles from investors or whatever. Like how is it working from this side?
Oh, I don't want to complain, but I mean, well, Web3 is still predominantly male space, right? And if we see the structures of a lot of teams, there is a turnout of people quickly change projects, VC become founders, and vice versa. So a lot of connections are built on the personal level. We also attend quite a lot of events, conferences. It's going to be Ton at London event tonight that I'm visiting IRL. So that's, I think, the main obstacle that we see as kind of how to integrate in different, like closer communities inside Web3 space to be closer to kind of opinion makers, decision makers, and be in these circles. Once you kind of get in and people start knowing your background, your expertise, what you're doing at the project, it becomes much easier. It's just like first impression might be, there's nothing written as PhD in math on my face, so I have to say it out loud all the time.
Totally. Yeah, thanks, Tatiana. And we have one more question from Alan. Does vSelf focus more on tokenizing existing communities? Which platform are those communities currently based on? And can you give an example?
Right. That's interesting angle, because right now we're starting beta on Telegram, which is it compared to Discord because of the potential to open up the existing communities and onboard customers through the advertisement techniques that I mentioned. So far, the ads and amplification is not part of the vSelf product. We do it like helping out manually and inviting our partners to kind of grow their communities using these tools themselves or with our assistance, if they will. And so like we're mostly focusing on tokenization, meaning we build incentive systems, either using point system that will lately converts to tokens of the partner, or natively, if it's Ton-based project. Right now, we started with Ton, then it can tokenize and organize rewards straight ahead on vSelf. In the future, we definitely want to be multi-chain, but with the initial steps focusing on Telegram mini apps.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Alan, for your question. And thanks, Tatiana, for coming. A great pitch, as always. And Yeah, guys, if you want to connect with vSelf, you can find Tatiana's Telegram and email here in the chat. And let's proceed with the next project. Bryan, please let us know whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. We got some slides, but first I'm gonna tell a little story, if that's okay.
That's
cool. Awesome. All right, I'm Bryan Colligan, founder of Alpha Growth, and currently we're running the Compound protocol, running all the strategy and growth efforts for Compound. And we went to a bunch of TradFi conferences and had a bunch of meetings and found out from a bunch of customer discovery on why TradFi is not coming yet to crypto. And there are 3 reasons. The first reason is regulatory risk. The second reason is smart contract risk. And the third reason is variable rate risk. So when we talked about like placing $100 million or $500 million worth of Bitcoin into Compound, they're like, wait a second, we need fixed rate risk, we need fixed rate yields, and we can't manage the variable rate risk. And so we started looking around and started looking for projects to give grants to, and met Andre from Ideasoft, who was working on this protocol through a series of relationships. And we started conversations and we said, okay, I have to jump into this opportunity. It's incredibly massive. So over the last 2 months, we've created strategic partnerships, obviously with Compound, Venus, Athena, Lido, Rocket Pool, everybody we've talked, Symbiotic, everybody that we've talked to from a strategic partnership level said, we want in, please help us turn our variable rate yield into fixed rate yield. From a staking standpoint, on the validators, they don't want to manage their treasury. They want to have a fixed rate yield so they understand how their business. And from Athena, they basically said, yes, we can get better rates. Our variable rate risk on our basis trade is wildly variable. Getting capital locked up for longer periods of time is very important to us. And of course, the money markets and is something that is absolutely important. So that's how I came to this project in from this angle. I'm going to pass it over to Andre to talk about why he came up with Maison protocol.
Yeah, thanks, Bryan. So we noticed this opportunity a few months back because we work with different institutional partners that do lots of trading or in general have Web3 liquidity, and normally they operate with third-party liquidity. And they also need like fixed yield because the variable yield, even though it can be more positive than predicted, is negative for them as a result because they need fixed predictive yield that they can plan per year. So at some point then we met Bryan when we were at the pre-MVP stage, and with them we made good collaborative responsibility zone areas team where we are building the product and they're responsible for the go-to-market strategy. That's why we managed with them to establish those partnerships he was talking about, and currently rolling the product to the market.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yeah, so a lot of questions that we get from investors is like around how are you different than Pendle, right? And we are big fans of Pendle, and I think Pendle is what it's testing out is that there is demand for interest rate swaps. However, it is our take that there hasn't been a DeFi primitive that is permissionless as of yet. So Pendle is very curated strategies, very verticalized. They've lots of curation on which strategies they decide to do interest rate swaps. It's seen rapid success along with integrating with Athena and some other protocols. However, there hasn't been a DeFi primitive as an interest rate swap protocol that is permissionless, that allows anybody with a yield-bearing token or LP token to effectively be able to get access to this type of primitive. So we will have a token, and the token will be used to, market is huge. Like, it's basically the entire market of finance runs off interest rate swaps. If you've ever been to a fixed income or talked to anybody in bond trading or fixed incomes, they do $6 billion at a clip in terms of bond trading. And it's just a massive, massive market where it's trading risk. Fundamentally, if you think about DeFi as a whole, the whole entire DeFi ecosystem is really about trading risk, and the bigger piles of risk and bigger piles of money that we can trade risk on, the more capital we will generate. Go-to-market, we run go-to-market for Compound now. We've ran go-to-market for chains. We already have a couple $100 million of TVL committed on the supply side. So the question might be like, where's the supply coming from? Well, if you talk to like head of growth or head of DeFi from these protocols, they're basically like, can you bury $50 million worth of token from me? I go, yes, we can bury $50 million. And they're like, we're in. So there's pretty much infinite supply that wants to get buried. The mechanism of how it works is, as on the supply side, let's say you're in a compound market or you're within an LST, you can choose 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month fixed rates. And then basically someone on the other side will buy. The market dynamics between the two will determine the price. We have a plan to basically get to 500 million in TVL within the first 12 months. And the token utility will help bootstrap liquidity and incentivize the trading either on the supply side or on the demand side at the beginning using a voter escrow mechanic. And effectively, that is Mason Network. We can
Guys, 1 minute left.
I think we can stop there for questions.
Okay, absolutely. Guys, feel free to leave your questions in the chat or raise your hand. And by the way, we posted all the necessary links in the contact details in the chat. Feel free to get connected as well. So yeah, looking forward to hearing questions. Okay, so there's one popped out just now. So with such a wide range of partners, what's the strategy to ensure seamless integration and liquidity across the different protocols you are working with?
That's a great question. So where we've gotten the most demand, right? So you want to like track the demand at first, is from validators and staking providers. So they're like, we're not hedge funds. We don't know how to manage our treasury. Please just get us consistent yields. If you can get us 6 months of yield rates that is consistent for staking yields, we would be very, very thankful. So we start with the biggest bags, right? So we start with the biggest things, which is like Lido, staking, Rocket Pool. And then from the largest pain point, the variable rates that are going on with LRTs right now are insane. So partnership with EtherFi, Symbiotic, Kelp, Swell, Renzo as well. They've all kind of raised their hands and said, yes, as soon as slashing turns on, there's going to be like this crazy volatility in the market that's like absolutely insane. And so being able to get fixed rate yields out of that volatility when slashing turns on is something that's very important. So biggest amounts of capital at first with the biggest opportunities and the biggest demand. And then I think we would go lending protocols after that, and then eventually LP tokens or any other yield bearing asset, and kind of open it up by category by category.
Okay, thanks for answering that. Another one goes like this. So can you elaborate on the specific use cases for your token utility and how you foresee it driving adoption within your community and beyond it?
Yeah, with a similar style voter escrow model, we will take rake and fees on the trades. So on the 1, 3 month and 6 month trades of interest rates, the pool and order book will take swapping fees. If the voter escrow mechanic is a locking mechanism where you lock the token to basically get those fees. And so the token is, as we bring out new pools, we want to bootstrap incentives and maybe make up that rate, because the variable rate is always going to be higher than the fixed rate, right? Because of the time premium. And so there will be a discounted time premium at the beginning to bootstrap, maybe the first 10 million per pool. We will incentivize that to a rate to kind of match that rates. So everybody kind of feels happy at first. And those original partners and those initial partners will also incentivize to have them supply the initial liquidity. But once it starts going and we tackle category by category, it's a DeFi primitive that we can drive throughout the entire industry, yield bearing tokens. But so bootstrapping liquidity, earning the fees, and then we're also going to add DeFi optionality to the token itself as well, getting it listed on money markets, DeFi pools, some perpetuals, things like that.
Great answer, loving that. And the third one goes like this. So how do you plan to differentiate Mason from other existing interest rate derivative platforms, especially with the established players like Compound and Curve involved?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call Compound or Curve interest rate swapping. So Curve is like a DEX, right? And so DEXs and LP tokens have the most volatility in APR, and it's kind of wild. It's just kind of dependent upon how many trades are going across it. And Compound is a money market, is a lending market. We running some of the liquidity deals at Compound. we got a request of like, can I get 3% on 500 million BTC, $500 million worth of BTC. And currently within Compound, and I know that more than Curve, but we don't have a mechanism design. We could sign a paper contract on dead trees and do that deal, but we don't have a facility to do it with smart contracts right yet, where we could do a treasury deal between a whale and then have an escrow and have the ability to kind of trace these swaps and keep that TVL sticky. We recently got a deal that we didn't have like a mechanism to handle, where one of the largest like hedge funds, crypto hedge funds in the world came to us and said, hey, we need 7% ETH on ETH, and we have $1 billion worth of ETH for you for 7% ETH on ETH at Compound. We didn't have a mechanism to be able to handle that. So that's kind of why I started going into like this interest rate swap protocol type of dynamic. And found Andre, because we have these deals available. We don't have a way to handle them on chain.
Yeah, thanks for answering that as well. Guys, we got like one more question till we end. So feel free to comment if you want to. Otherwise, I will ask the final question.
I want to hear what Ivan, what you got.
Okay, absolutely. So there is a quick one. So what do you see like your long-term goals for the project?
I think it's very straightforward. There are 7 things in crypto that make money. A lot of these primitives have been exposed. If you think about staking, CDPs, DEXs, bridges, perps, lending protocols. I think interest rate swap protocols is the primitive that has not been tapped yet and will be considered a primitive in the DeFi space for the next 5 to 10 years. And in the long term is basically any one of those other 6 primitives that came before interest rate swap protocols will be able to apply an interest rate swap protocol, and then you can play some degen games or some like leveraged games. And just the activity of what you see on Pendle is kind of proving the market. It's just very, very isolated. And so our goal is to have this primitive across anything that has a yield bearing component in existence.
Yeah, totally. I can agree with that. This like direction seems kind of promising and overlooked sometimes. But yeah, guys, wish you best of luck with that. Hopefully it'll blow up one day. And yeah, thanks for happening for our call. Be the 3rd project here. Share your pitch.
Exactly.
Absolutely loving that. And yeah, guys, thank you for sticking with us. There's collective call and we got like 3 projects today. And thank everybody participating, especially our speakers like Drew and Tatiana. Thanks for that. And to you guys watching, if you want to hop in our calls, tune in and be our next guest. Just feel free to fill the form for participation, and also we collect some feedbacks. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts regarding this project that we're doing here. And yeah, thank you for hopping in. See you next Tuesday. Yeah, Thursday. Okay, so yeah, goodbye. Malika, thank you as well. Goodbye, guys.